Peace. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another Substantial Weekly. Hope all is well with you and yours. Thank y'all for tuning in. Sorry about the late start this week. A lot of things have been beyond crazy, you know what I mean? So we had a late start this week. Last week I ended up not going live. Usually I would give y'all a heads up, but yeah, man, it's been a lot going on. I don't think I've averaged more than like maybe 4.5 to like 6 hours of sleep, like almost every day for like the last week and a half. So, yeah, man, I've said it like twice already. It's a lot going on. And so we're going to jump into all of that in a second, man. And when I tell you it's a lot going on, someone literally just caught an error on my Bandcamp page to give me heads up about it. So now I'm about to fix that while I'm live with y'all. You know what I'm saying? So never a dull moment, man. But shout out to everybody for tuning in. If it's your first time watching, my name is Substantial. Welcome to Substantial Weekly, where we do weekly updates, all the things going on from new music to upcoming events and so on and so forth, man. Hope y'all are doing really good, though. Shout out to my man Early, who was up in here early. He had to dip out, but peace to him. Shout out to Uncrowned Otaku in the chat right now. Peace to my nephew Julius up in this joint right now. Peace. What's going on, family? And anybody else who's watching behind the scenes, man, I appreciate you for tuning in. But yeah, man. So let's talk about things. Whole lot to get into. First and foremost, today a new release has dropped. Clap it up for Reed Richards. That's my latest single. Super excited about that joint. I've played like little snippets on the show back when I first produced the instrumental. I gave y'all some behind the scenes. If you follow me on Patreon, you've already heard the track and got a sneak peek of that already. And so yeah, man, it's definitely a fave from the new album. Don't know if I feel like it's my favorite, but it's amongst one of my favorite. I know it's going to be one of my favorites to perform. Last week was crazy because last week I actually got the chance to call another typo. Doing too much, man. Last week I had the chance to perform it live for the first time, which was amazing. Got to perform it at this venue called The Garden, which had it existed around the time I dropped my album, The Garden, needless to say, that would have been the perfect place to do the album release joint. But yeah, man. And then I got to also preview it at, what's the joint? Baltimore Metro Gallery. Shout out to them too. And so, yeah, man, both performances were dope. Shout out to my man Mega Ram. Shout out to MC Frontalot as well. Shout out to my cousin Ducky Dynamo, who DJ'd for me in B-More. Shout out to everybody who came to that show, man. It was a good time. And shout out to everyone who came out to the show in Virginia at the Garden in Alexandria. But yeah, man, good times. More on the way. So on that note, let's bring some things up on the screen so we can go over the goings-ons. Today might be a short show where I just update y'all with some stuff and then keep it moving because there is a lot of stuff I got going on behind the scenes. So real quick with that before we dive into the updates. Yeah, man, for those who don't know, my new album is coming. So I'm working on those, like trying to finish like the last 3 joints still. Also really close to getting this Kickstarter campaign done. Got some key components, like the artwork and all of that wrap. So now we're just finishing up these mock-ups, the story, and a quick vid. And that will launch, God willing, by next week before I head out of town, which I'll talk about that a bit later. So that's been going on behind the scenes. You probably heard my stomach growl in a second. Son, got to eat lunch as quick as this is done. And what else is happening, man? There's something else going on, too, that's been happening behind. Speaking of Kickstarter, congratulations to the homie, my man IQ. Definitely check out his Kickstarter. I'll try to throw it in the chat before we dip. his Kickstarter launched 2 days ago and literally got funded within the first hour. So that is extremely exciting. Super happy for the homie IQ, man, for funding his project. Yeah, man, it's I think he's 2 days in and it's already at 136% funded. So I'll share that link right about now. If you're interested in checking out his project, please do. In fact, I will follow up with him and get permission for me to share the song that we have on the album with those of you who follow me on Patreon. You know, so link coming up in a second. IQ's Kickstarter, cool. All right. But yeah, man. And so for those who don't know, if you've seen me at a ton of conventions over the years and stuff, it's been because of several people. And one of those folks is definitely been the homie IQ, man. Shout out to DJ A-Rock, the homie IQ. And like folks like Katie Fox and all the different folks who've helped over the years to get me opportunities to perform in these spaces or at least do a panel in these spaces. Always happy to do that. Also, shout out to Loaded Snacks and Anime USA, where I was last weekend. All right. And oh my God, so many things. Shout out to DC Music Summit. That was super dope as well. I told you I've been busy. It's been crazy. So, yeah, man, but that's that. Hold on. I just realized when I shared that link, only some of you probably got it. Let's try this again. All right. Bong. Let's see. Okay, cool. And so for anybody who's just showing up right now, just tuning in, be sure to say peace. Let me know where you're tuning in from, all that good stuff. Shout out to Nice Afro, man. Good to see you. Yeah, man. Yeah, you been MIA, but it's all good, man. We always happy to see folks. We know it's a lot goings on. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, on that note, let's start this other stuff. Hold on. Trying to make sure we bring up the right thing. So, again, new joint out right now. Song Reed Richards. Streaming on all platforms, man. Once we confirm a few more people up here, once we get to a certain amount of viewers, man, I'll play the track. Because otherwise I'm gonna play it and then I'm gonna end up running it back, which I'm not mad at. You know what I'm saying? I'm good with that if you're good with that. But I want to give folks a little bit more time to get in here before we jump all the way into the track. In the meantime, for those of you watching, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please make sure you do that. You know, and also for those of you watching, turn on your notifications so you don't miss these live updates and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, peace, Tommy. What's going on? Good to see you up in here as well. All right. And yeah, man. So again, Reed Richards out right now. It is streaming on all platforms. There's a link in the description of this video. You can stream it wherever you choose to stream and listen to your music, man. The feedback so far for the single has been amazing, and definitely appreciate the love. You know, it's yeah, man, it's been a fun track to produce as well, man. And like with the switch ups and everything in it is I'm really proud of how it came out. Shout out to my man Tone for mixing it. Shout out to hey, peace, what's going on, Jamal? Good to see you, brother. Shout out to Marvin for shooting the photo that you see here. And shout out to Sherm the barber, who's also my stylist, who styled me for the video shoot as well. As you can see with this artwork here, you see like the different materials and stuff. You got different fabric mixed with paper that's cut up. There's like jeans under there. There's a balled up photo that was included in it, and then other paper with paint texture on it too. So something different, man. You know, like each cover is going to have this feel and put together in different ways. All right, peace. Hey, my man Rod up in here. What's going on, fam? All right. I love this Reed Richards, best sub track in a while. Wow. Hey, man, I appreciate that, fam. Thank you. So look, why waste any more time? Let's go ahead and jump into the track. All right. So I will play Reed Richards for y'all. You can go ahead and start dropping comments and all of that. And if you got any questions about the track, feel free to throw those in the mix too. But here we go. Without further ado, Reed Richards.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You have this song selection. You deal with scientists. Jadakiss is a scientist, Buckshot, they're scientists, man. They're craftsmen. Substantial, they're scientists, man.
Clap for me. They say, Mr. Fantastic, can you rap for me? DJ, bring it back for me. Let me stretch and get loose for I black on it. Triple R to y'all rap read, bitch. Stretch money instead of truth, bro. I mean business. Enough flow to fill a ravine. You should bring pictures. When the beat got that swing, you gon' need pictures. On the mound, throwing it down, stand delivers. All pro, I ain't a goddamn beginner. Picks after the show, then let a man eat dinner. Too focused on A to see what plan B get us. Now be fade with some gray on the sides. Omni-man stand when that pen and paper collide. They lied and said you was the truth, but now your status denied. This life forever die, waiting for the pain to subside. Ooh. Classic over trendy, bro, I'm still here. Holla at me in a decade if they still care. When you fall and bounce back, if they still cheer, then you're worthy to wield the mic like it's Milner. I'm still in here, still prepared to take what I earn. Y'all some Build-A-Bears and built the bear, the weight of the world. I've been the realest here, that's on my soulmate and my girl. Who you feel compared to me really ain't my concern. Is he dope? Ain't a debate, cause most will say he underrated. A couple takes a state that he a great or just the greatest. Some artists focus less on albums, just don't make a playlist. I choose the former, but I hope the latter choose my latest. Clap for me. They say, Mr. Fantastic, can you rap for me? DJ, bring it back for me. Let me stretch and get loose for I black on it. For the poppers, lockers, God body rosters, hip hoppers, not for the imposters. Nah, bro, recognize I spit up when you spot one. Learn from a showstopper. Mr. Stantastic, party of four, dope in audio form. What's a god to a girl? Bunch of beasts like Benny on the stage with the boys. You hope to have a good show, bro. I came to destroy the pit, giving out work like I came to employ. Joyce Rock on the mic when I'm making a point. Sorcerer in the stew when I conjure up joints. Come and fetch this blessing that I came to anoint. For where we rock, new balance, but struggle with old vices. And high blood pressure be coming with low prices. For the virus, we've been dealing with known crisis. Transformed from old dog to Osiris. Now we can't blame these joints like arthritis. While God guide us, peacemakers and born fighters. Got homies with more C's than papayas. Trying to find peace while writing them papyrus. Denada, equal rights and living wages. And couldn't see the gods that we are to hitting stages. Best kept secret like Bibles with hitting pages. Best source of raw hip hop and entertainment. My life's a hip hop quotable, they ain't published yet. Slept on by the masses till I left a few with rubbernecks. Took a swing at rapping, then I sent it to the upper deck. Only other language that I'm fluent in is cut the check. Clap for me. They say, Mr. Fantastic, can you rap for me? DJ, bring it back for me. Let me stretch and get loose so I black on it. For the poppers, lockers, God bodies rosters, hip hoppers, not for the imposters. Nah, bro, recognize I spit up when you spot one. Learn from a showstopper.
We get into the science of the fact. That's the beauty of it. And that the average person doesn't know that, and they treat it like pop music. Top 40, shaking to the lights, as I say. I don't think we could be in the same room talking about the same thing.
Yeah, man. Hey, that, ladies and gentlemen, was Reed Richards, the latest single from my upcoming album, Adultish. It's the second single, and it was produced by me. That was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun making that beat, man. When I found the sample, I knew it was gonna be fun to chop. And then when I first made it, it was one of those samples where I was like, man, this loop doesn't need a whole lot in terms of too many switch ups and stuff. I want to kind of keep it going. So that's initially, it didn't have this big beat switch, but because the verses were longer, the more I listened to it, I was like, yeah, it needs another switch other than just the chorus and a few additional layers. And so I played around with it for a while, and I was like, how about I just change the beat completely? Because I had realized of course, we've heard songs where artists have done that, but I thought about it and I was like, man, I don't think I've ever done that in one of my tracks. And, you know, and I know that's partly because the producers I work with don't necessarily, like, I didn't think to do it, but neither did the producers I've worked with over the years. So I was like, hey, man, why can't I do that for one of my tracks? You know what I mean? Peace, Ultimate Plug. Thanks for joining us. Man, I appreciate the love on the production. Like I said, I worked really hard on that, man. And I'm glad it's being so well received. You know what I mean? It's nice to see hard work pay off. All right. Thanks, Tommy. Appreciate that. Hey, peace, Frank. What's going on? Ottawa in the building. Still no notifications? You got your notifications turned on? And if so, yeah, that's strange, man. I don't know what to tell you, you know? It's no stretch to say that song is fantastic. Get it? Because never. Hey, I see what you did there. Yeah, man. Shout out to my brother Rod. Yeah, man, it's a decent amount of comic book references. Of course, I think most of the references deal with Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards himself. And then, like, you know, I kind of jump around to other stuff from like Thor to The Boys. What else was in there? I talk about Invincible as well. You know what I mean? There's an Omni-Man reference in there. And of course, the Reed Richards stuff, it's not just the stretching thing, it's also a reference to even how Reed Richards looks, where he got the gray and stuff on the sides. You know what I mean? Your man's is, you know, I'm graying up, man. So I'm out here doing my Omni-Man / Reed Richards thing, you know? Omni-Man stand when that pen and paper collide, you know? But yeah. So, hey, man, thank y'all for listening to that joint. I might run it back later in the show, depending on if we get a bunch of folks to show up and all that good stuff. Quick reminder before we keep it moving, to those of you who ever want to donate to the channel, you can do so via Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. More information on that in the description. There's a bio.site/substantial link. You click on that. Not only will it show you you know, links to different sites and different things I got going on, but it also will show you different ways that you can donate or support me as an artist. All right, let's see. Oh man, I'm sorry, man. Your government is on the joint. I got you, Blitz. My bad. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could blur the joint. I can't. I'm sorry. What's producing like compared to writing? Is it more difficult, more enjoyable? Honestly, for me, producing is actually easier than writing for me. And it's only because, honestly, most of producing is really just kind of having a good idea of like what sounds well together, especially when you're sampling, right? Because you can find a great sample, but it doesn't automatically guarantee that the beat is going to be dope. Like, so, you know, after I find my sample, sometimes I start with the drum, sometimes I start with the sample. But it's really just about picking the right sounds and making sure those sounds work with other sounds that you're choosing to work with and play with in your sandbox. And then the rest, honestly, to me, is mixing. Some of the best producers are great producers, not just because of their ideas, but also because of how it's mixed. You know what I mean? Like, being able to pick the right sounds and put that together, along with making sure that it's leveled in a way that that works. Shout out to Tone, my man Tone Deaf from Q&5, who actually mixed and mastered this record. He's mixing the entire album and stuff. He's definitely for years been one of the best, you know, in terms of his ear, man. Like, besides being an amazing MC, like he does extremely dope mixes. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I knew I wanted him to help with the project, and I was glad he signed on to do it. He also mixed the last single, No Per Diem 2.0. Shout out to those of you who've been keeping that in rotation as well. All right, but let's keep it moving, man. There's more to discuss, more to talk about. I mentioned it before, so let me go ahead and mention it again. If you haven't signed up yet, please consider joining my Patreon. It's just patreon.com/substantial. You can do so for as little as $1 a month. It'll allow you to get advance copies of some of the songs from the album, along with collaborations and different things I've been doing. I just realized I forgot to answer the second part of your question, MV. So in terms of what's more enjoyable, and also to touch on the whole difficulty thing, writing is more difficult a lot of times because I'm less concerned with making a beat that feels or sounds like something that existed before. I'm not classically trained, and although I do experiment with the production tip, I feel like I'm a bit more limited on the production side of things in terms of me truly making something that's groundbreaking or hasn't been done before. I have ideas, but it's not always about the ideas with production. It's about execution first and foremost, because you can have a great idea with shitty product. But in terms of writing is a bit more difficult because, one, I've been writing for a long time. So the act of writing itself is not hard to do, but the pressure that I put on myself to try to say something I haven't said before or explore topics I haven't explored before, or when I'm doing a collaboration, not getting lazy with the collab and trying to put a lot into how I construct that and making it as good as something I would do for myself. And of course, when I do stuff for myself, it's even harder because I'm really, really analyzing what I've done before and really trying to bring something new to the table. And if it isn't style-wise, it's topic-wise and substance-wise. So in terms of what's more enjoyable at the moment, producing is a bit more enjoyable, and I would only say because it's a little less stressful for me. Where writing takes a bit more time and work for me these days. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Hey, peace. What's going on, Steph? Good to see you up in here. My sister from another mister. Clap it up for Steph, y'all. Hey. But yeah, man. Thank you for that question. All right. Hope you had a good day at the JO. You know what I mean? Safe travels getting home. Hey, you're very welcome, MV. My pleasure. Anybody else got questions? Feel free to throw them in the mix. But if any of you are interested in signing up for Patreon, you can do so by going to patreon.com/substantial. And I'll put a link in there for you in case you don't want to follow the link in the description. You know what I'm saying? I know people's like, I ain't trying to do all that. Jai lazy, but it's all right. Judgment free zone. You know what I mean? All right, let's see. Boom. So here's the link for y'all for Patreon if you want to consider signing up. The next thing I'll be adding up there is likely going to be a collab that I have with a particular artist. I'm going to talk to IQ to see if I can put that up there, or it might be the original version of No Per Diem, which is going to be released a bit later via another producer. Oh, wait a minute. Everybody stop the press. Hold up, ladies and gentlemen. We got the legendary Q&5 music up in here. Shout out to my man Tone Deaf. You know what I mean? Go ahead, clap it up for Q&5. Family is in the building. You know what I'm saying? Got my Plague family in the building via Blitz, and then also Q&5, and the Q&5 fam is here. And of course, we got Steph in this joint. It's a celebration. I'm about to tear up in these streets. All right. Hey, enjoy your 3-day weekend, sis. So, let's see. Another question or statement. I'd imagine that's hard, especially since you actually tell stories and put metaphors and complexity in most of your rhymes. Yeah, man, it's definitely, you try to push yourself, and keep it interesting. Otherwise, like, why keep doing it if I'm really just going to be doing the same thing over and over again, Yeah, man, Patreon is great. Love support in any way, but the perks are awesome. Single thug tier. Appreciate you, Tommy. Tommy said it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, there are perks that you can get, like things that'll be sent in the mail automatically, outside of the fact that if you're a producer, you support my Patreon. I actually drop acapellas of the different songs, including these new songs. Those of you who don't want to support on Patreon, though, you can also get the acapellas on Bandcamp. But only on Bandcamp and Patreon are those available. All right. But yeah, man, we got hoodies, got bags, different things available on Patreon. Definitely shout out to my Q&5 family. You know what I mean? Oh, snap. Yeah, man. Awesome to see all the talent supporting each other still. Of course, man, those are my brothers. we got a nice surprise for y'all coming up next month as well. So be on the lookout for that. But let's keep it moving. More updates to get into, all that good stuff. Let's see what we got next. All right. Oh, yes. Let's blow that up again. So, yeah, man, we got a really, if you're in the DMV area, I'm going to need you to make sure you find time to come out and support this event tomorrow, because it's going to be really dope, and I'm extremely excited. So, yeah, man, we're doing sketch pads at Creative Suitland in Suitland, Maryland. Yeah, man, tickets are available now. You can go ahead and grab those in the description of this video or by clicking the link that's in the chat. Basically, Sketchpads is a live art and music session where we have a visual artist, and in this case, our features are Naturel, and then we got YU. Naturel is going to be drawing live, so like you can see the style of art along the top and bottom banners. That's Naturel style, built on triangles. And so, yeah, man, definitely come check it out. You'll also be able to ask him questions. I'm not sure if he's bringing merch. I know YU's talking about bringing some merch, but hopefully Naturel has some exclusive stuff that y'all can check out as well. I'll be sure to give him a reminder. But this event is happening early tomorrow. It's 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's child friendly. It's actually discounted rate for students as well. So if you're a child or a student, it's only $5 plus fees to get in, and unless you pay cash when you arrive. And then it's $10 for adult, of course, with fees, taxes, and all of that. It's a little bit more, but worth checking out, man. It's going to be a great time. Also, we give out free art materials to the audience, right? We're going to have an art bar where you can basically go up, pick up certain materials from Sketchpads, which are free, drawing pencils, erasers, all that good stuff. And we have Shalina, who's our figure model. She'll be she's a professional dancer who's going to be posing, and you can draw her, or you could draw like from your mind, whatever you want to draw, whatever you feel to do. Maybe you just want to write to the instrumentals that are being played, because I've seen people do that as well, which is really dope. The last one we had at Anime USA was very successful once again, and we're excited to still be able to do this. So outside of the free art supplies that I mentioned, to people who buy tickets in advance, several of you will actually get a free year of Clip Studio Paint. They are one of the sponsors for the event. So this event is sponsored by Words, Beats, and Life. Shout out to my family. Also Blick Art Materials, who will be providing the free art materials, and Clip Studio Paint, which will be giving out licenses for anybody who's a visual artist who bought tickets in advance. So we'll be announcing that tomorrow at the event, so you don't want to miss it. Definitely come through. It's going to be a good time. And remember, it's all ages. All right. Of course, I will be there. I'm hosting the event along with my amazing business partner and wife, Rochelle. So we'll be in the building as well. And we'll have merch available too that you can cop in person and support. Or maybe you already got merch from me and you just want to get something signed, or maybe get some pictures, or whatever. Whatever you want to do, we'll be there. All right. So on that note, let's keep it going. All right, let's see. I feel like I might have missed some questions. Awesome to see it. Yep, saw that. Steph got vocals. Yes, she does. If you're going to clap it up, make sure you hit the clinic. Hey, man, we can't take tone nowhere. You know what I'm saying? This is what you deal with, you know? All right, quick question. Let's see what we got. Hold on. Quick question. What's the best way to support your music? Bandcamp or Patreon? That's a great question. Thank you so much. So, Patreon or Bandcamp, I would say both of them are some of the top ways to support. Bandcamp also allows you to pay like a subscription thing where you give me $5 a month, and you automatically get downloads of whatever I add to Patreon, right? So that is a great way to support. You get free downloads of anything that I add to Bandcamp. And on top of that, because of the fact that you have a subscription there, you also get 20% off of all physical merch that you order from Bandcamp, right? So it's a great way to support. The other thing with Bandcamp is like, if you support in that way, you know, it works similar to Patreon, where it's monthly, and it gives you the option where you can pay more if you want, right? So there's that. Now in terms of Patreon is also dope. You get some of the same benefits, maybe a few more depending on how high up you go. And on top of that, there's automated merchandise that goes out when you basically support at a certain level. So I feel like it's a great exchange in terms of what you get. I feel like either one of those you get your money's worth, you know what I mean? And both of them, Patreon pays me automatically. I usually get paid on the 7th of the month from Patreon, and it's, you know, pretty consistent. It also gives me an idea of how to budget. So that's a great place to support. Bandcamp usually has money just sprinkling into my account consistently throughout the month. So both of those are good ways to support. So no pressure. I would just say whatever one seems the most appealing to you, but either one of those are great. So thanks for even asking that. You know what I mean? I really appreciate you taking the time to ask that question. Yeah, man. Thank you, Frank. All right, let's see. Writing. I never understood how some, honestly, most artists are content with writing the same song over and over and over again. And for some reason, people seem to want that, you know. Yeah, man, it's crazy. You know, I really feel like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you actually put forth the effort to grow and experiment and try different things, people will complain and say they miss your old stuff, right? And I feel like that's the case of all artists, whether their old stuff is actually better or worse. I feel like, you know, because I think it has a lot to do with how people are first introduced to the music and that initial connection that they have when they're first introduced to your music. Like, it's hard to top that feeling. Outside of what the music sounds like, they're automatically taken to a certain place when they hear those songs. So that's hard to compete with. And so some artists really kind of take that as them just really trying to recapture that over and over again. Which, you know, can suck if you're a person that's trying to progress. I feel like when you're someone where, like, I feel like there's a noticeable improvement in your music, you still deal with that. I feel like I'm an artist who's consistently grown over the years, but for some people, what I did with Nujabes, there's nothing that I'll ever do that's ever going to be that. So for them, right? And so basically, you know, the safe thing to do in my career would be to basically work with producers who emulate his sound, right? So that way, even though it still doesn't have that impact, the original impact, it still gives people enough of the nostalgia that they can at least appreciate it close to the way they appreciate that older stuff, and maybe put it in rotation a bit more, versus me completely abandoning that and then doing something that really doesn't sound anything like that, right? Which is like with adultish, a lot of the stuff is not going to sound like my older stuff, right? Like there's tracks, I mean, Tone, you've heard some of the stuff, so it's Steph. And yeah, man, there's tracks where I'm kind of venturing out, but I still give you elements of my foundation in there. But I am okay with like not trying to do the same thing over and over again. And even if I have hints of that, I'm still going to find a way to do it different. And I know you better than anybody, Tone, understand that, man, you know. But thanks for that comment. Yeah, Steph is dope. All right, Q15 reminds me of Method Man for the most part. But I like how he does. I've never heard anyone ever compare Tone and Q15, anybody from Q15 to Meth. But, you know, I mean, to each his own. All right, yeah, most artists, especially popular artists, are comfortable or lazy with it. Absolutely. What do you try to do when you get writer's block or try to do something different? Yeah, I think a lot of times I push through it. I try to get something down. Like, you know, I might not writer's block for me isn't really not writing anything. It's more so just not finishing the thing I sat down to do. Because when I sit down to write, I'm sitting down to finish whatever it is I'm starting to write in that moment. Like that's my goal when I sit down. It's not just to write something. It's to actually start and finish something, because our time isn't promised, right? And, you know, I know some artists are like, you know, I just try to let it flow and let it naturally, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, that shit's cute and all. You know what I'm saying? But in this day and age where, like, you know, not everybody gets to live long enough to see, to start everything that they finish, or even most of what they finish. So, you know, when I sit down to write, man, I'm trying to capture whatever my thoughts and feelings are in that particular moment. And sometimes when writer's block happens, it's not so much that I can't think of anything to write. It's more so like the challenge of trying to push myself to write something different, or do something different. So it's not really a block at all. Things are coming to me. It's just probably not the best thing, you know what I mean? At least in my opinion in that moment. So I try to jot something down. And even if I don't write anything, I'll record a scat track, because I'm at least figuring out the tones that I want to use or the flows that I want to use, right? So that's part of my process, all right? Like how do you get into that mind state? That's a great question. I don't know. For me, it's not really like, you know, like when you hear a vocalist warm up or something like that, you know, where they're kind of really just trying to loosen up the muscles that they have to use. I don't really have a process like that when I'm writing or about to produce, right? For me, it's really like, you know, I know it's go time. And I'm from like the Bruce Lee train of thought, right? Bruce was in an interview and he said that his goal was to try to hold on to his naturalness and natural like ability and flow of things, but at the same time try to be robotic with it, where like whenever he needed to do it with like push of a button. So he basically said the goal for him was natural unnaturalness or unnatural naturalness. So I try to exercise these muscles so much or enough that when I need to do it, it's just like I just turn it on. You know what I mean? And again, the only time that it isn't almost instant or like I sit down and just kind of go is only because I'm trying to find ways that push the envelope in some way, shape, or form. If it isn't sonically, it's like, you know, by saying something I haven't said, or maybe it's like an internal thing, like in terms of like, not internal, but maybe it's a something I'm doing interesting with flow or with syllables or whatever. Like even if there's something on the surface level that seems like, it feels like something he might have said before, there might be something else happening on the technical side of things that is pushing the envelope. So yeah, so for me, it's kind of like just sit down and go. Like I don't really, you know, it could be a busy atmosphere, it could be quiet, I could be outside, I could be indoors. Like I don't really have certain things that like are a must for me to do my thing. All right. Yeah, man. Hold on. Before I get to those questions, let me keep going through these slides and make these announcements. And then I'll get to the next question. So next announcement. Yeah, man. Basically, I am getting ready to fly out to Romania next Friday, so a week from today. I haven't decided how I'm gonna do the live yet. Like, I might do it a bit earlier just so I can get it out the way before we start loading up the car, getting my girls together, and then heading to the airport. So we will see. I'll let y'all know when I decide how I'm gonna do it. But shout out to my next level team, man. You know, I got a really dope team that I'm gonna be out there with. Amira, Rochelle, Genesis B, A Billy Free, my man DJ Action, and also Saki One. So yeah, man, it's gonna be really, really dope. We'll be out there doing that residency for 2 weeks. I'll be teaching the MCing workshops with a focus on live performance, while the homie Genesis B will be teaching songwriting. I've actually, y'all probably can't see it in the corner, but been gathering some of the equipment and stuff that we got to take out there. Once we're done with the equipment, we'll actually be donating it to the folks who we'll be working with out there so that they can still access this stuff after we're gone. So that's really dope and exciting. So any questions about that, let me know and I'll tell you a bit more. But let's go back to the chat. Do I run into producer blocks? Not really. Because when I'm making beats, a lot of times, while I'm looking for something to kind of work on in that moment, I'm finding other things that aren't necessarily what I want to flip in that particular moment, but I usually have them stored somewhere. So if I just feel like making a beat, but I don't know what I want to make, I can just access a ton of the stuff I've already been digging up. And so that always makes it easier to make something every time I sit down, whether it's for something specific or not, you know? But thanks for the question. It's probably worse now in these days of TikTok, et cetera, where most people don't have the attention span for creativity and different music. It's why I stuck with music like Substantial, Q and 5, et cetera. Well, first and foremost, appreciate the love, man. Yeah, I mean, nowadays it's interesting to see how things work. I feel like more than anything, not just the amount of time you can hold someone to listen to something, because I think that has more to do with connection, not just their attention span, right? Like people are looking for a particular thing to fit a certain aesthetic a lot of times, or to connect with on a certain level. And most people, including me, I can tell within seconds if this thing is going to be the thing for me a lot of times. And I'm sure most of us feel that way, right? It's only with like artists you trust and you have a history with, where you sometimes, even when it don't start the way you would like it to start, you'll be a bit more patient to see where it goes. But like I feel like with newer stuff you're not as familiar with, you kind of make a decision about it within like the initial like 5 to 15 seconds, right? So I don't know if TikTok is completely responsible for that, but I will say that what I do feel like is more responsible for people's attention and stuff, like I find it interesting when I ask young people nowadays, like folks who I work with in education, like who they listen to, who their favorite artist is. That's a hard thing for them. That's a hard question to answer, because a lot of them don't necessarily just dive into one artist stuff. A lot of them, rely on playlists or tastemakers to get their music. So, they're aware of a ton of different artists, which is cool in some ways, but there's very few artists where they have explored a ton of their catalog. They just kind of know the key things that were put in front of them. Like my daughter, I've watched her over the years kind of become one of those kids where she puts on certain playlists, and those playlists, it's based on the vibe that she's looking for. And most artists, when they make an album, it's not one vibe the entire time. So like, there's songs that kind of take the mood in different places. That's how I work and how I make my projects, and that's most albums I listen to. So yeah, man, I think playlists have played a major role on how people consume music, how they're made aware of new talent, and how little people go past those initial songs that they discover to really explore. Playlists are very much like the new radio, right? Like radio stations and stuff, where it's like you just turn on the radio station because you like it, you turn it on at a specific time because they play a specific vibe that you're looking for, and you just take whatever it is they give you and kind of filter out what it is you don't like from that, you know what I mean? But yeah, man. Anyway. All right, Stan has herbal tea and waters with his plant when he writes. I hate you, Toe. All right, let's see. I don't want to sound like I'm fanboying too hard, but you guys simply create amazing stuff that I know will hit in so many different ways. Man, I appreciate that. Thank you. Next question. Bro, you ever going to collab with Sice again? Yeah, man. I mean, let me say that differently. I am always down to collaborate with him. Will it happen again? I hope so. I don't know, though, because it's been a while since I've seen him create anything new. He might be cooking on the low. We haven't talked in a while, so No bad blood or nothing like that. Just haven't got up in a while. But of course, I'm down to do some more stuff with him. I just don't know if we will anytime soon. All right. Let's see. The Method Man comparison was in response to the songs with repetitive content, just to clarify. Got you. All right. Understandable. Let's catch up on a few more of the comments and then jump into the next slide. All right. Oh, yeah. You're going to Anime NYC again this year. Yes, I am. Details on that in a second. All right. Lighthearted question here. How do you handle or respond to artists who bring a verse that you think is better or difficult to match up? That's a great. I mean, listen, man. Clearly I work with Tone. Tone is an amazing artist, right? And so many other dope artists I work with over the years do amazing things where I'll make a verse, and ultimately what I'll do is just kind of make a decision in that moment. Like, am I proud of what I've done? Can I stand by this? Is it doper than what they did? Maybe somebody thinks so. I don't really kind of get caught up in trying to outdo the people who I know personally, per se. I kind of carry that arrogance when I'm collaborating with someone I never worked with a lot of times. Like, yo, I'm gonna let you know, son. But with the people who are around me, like, when I heard C King verse for MLK, I didn't instantly go like, oh, I'm scrapping all my and rewriting it. And I definitely love his verse more than I love what I came up with on the joint. But I feel like, hey, man, I did this song with you because I think you're dope. And I'm not here to outshine you. I'm here to collaborate with somebody whose stuff I love. And I feel like what I did, I feel like it's dope enough in terms of creating the vibe that I was setting out to do. So, and on top of that, if it's somebody who I love and know who's appearing on my stuff, part of the goal outside of collaboration is also to expose y'all to some dope people who maybe you're not hip to. So if they get on the track with me and I'm like out to embarrass them, you know what I'm saying? Or try to outshine them or get too caught up in the competition factor. Some might say, oh, it might make for better music and stuff like that, but that's not necessarily how I approach writing 90+% of the music I make. So if it happens, it's cool. I know rap gets treated like sport more than it does music a lot of times by certain people. And I try not to subscribe to that too much when I'm making albums. You know what I mean? It's one thing if I'm getting in an MC battle or a competition. But that's not the energy I take into making songs. All right. Thanks for the question. You're right about that. A lot of people are influenced by what playlists, editors, or what's in their face. Nah, absolutely. Let's see. Stan burns sage and incense before he writes. Hey, you're welcome, Anon. Thank you. Hey, peace. What's going on, y'all? What's going on, Josh? Well, I see the two pictures and I just instantly the two faces in the picture and went to y'all. Peace, man. What's going on? Yeah, the weekend is off to a nice start, man. I hope you and yours are good. All right. The playlist point was definitely true. I would imagine full albums aren't consumed completely these days like before. Absolutely. It's a single driven market. It's the whole reason why my whole album will be released as singles. You're going to get every one of these songs individually because I'm doing my best to make sure that as many people from my core audience can hear these songs. Because if I just throw out 2 songs and throw out the whole album, most people won't take the time to really they listen to the album a few times, they find the ones they like, and they never return to those joints or barely ever return to those joints that didn't hit them the same way. So this way, with me dropping everything as a single, it allows people to it allows each song to have its moment and give people a chance to really process that until I hit them with the next thing, Let's see. If he does all that for his rap, and imagine what he does when he turns into R&B alter ego. All right. So let's see what we got next on the agenda. All right. Someone already mentioned it. Now it's here. Bong. So next month I will be at Anime NYC. Literally, I get back from Romania, I think maybe 4 to 5 days before this event starts. But I will be at Anime NYC. I will give y'all a heads up now, though. I will not be there the entire weekend, more than likely. I'll likely only be there on Friday. So if you plan on checking me out, I would say try to be there Friday evening, because that's when we're doing our Sketchpads event. Me and Katie Fox will be there talking about animal arithmetic. She'll be drawing live, and then I will be doing a live beat set. Maybe I'll mess around with like dropping a couple verses toward the end of the session, but we will see. I can't make no promises. It's not a proper stage and performance space that we're going to be in. So like, it's really like a panel room type of situation. So, but maybe if I don't spit something, maybe I'll play some unreleased stuff for y'all. You know what I mean? So we'll see. All right. But yeah, man, looking forward to seeing y'all there. All right. Let's see. Awesome. Been wanting to get a sticker, but didn't want to pay the shipping. All good. Yeah, I'll definitely be there. But remember, I'll be there Friday, and I won't be there all day Friday either. Just for clarity purposes, I'm going to be there more than likely late afternoon into the evening. We don't have a table set up the entire time. So if you want to get any merch from me at Anime NYC, you got to come to our panel. We've already arranged it with Anime NYC that we'll be able to sell merchandise in the area where our panel is going to happen. We're the last panel of the day, so that way we can we can have merch being sold afterwards. Because our panel, I think, ends at a particular time, and then that area stays open for at least another 30 minutes. So we're going to do our best to end on time, so that way folks got time to meet up with us and get stuff signed and purchase merchandise and all of that good stuff. All right, let's see. Man, first Attack on Titan author was announced to be there, and now I gotta go. Hey man, I'm honored to be in that, to be considered amongst the reasons that you're going. That's dope, man. I appreciate the love. Thank you. All right. So I'll only be there Friday too for the Final Fantasy concert. So lucky timing. Word. What time is that concert? Because I didn't even realize that was Friday. Yeah, man. Word. All right. So let's see if I got anything else. I think that's all the announcements, yo. So yeah, man. So again, in case you missed it, Reed Richards out right now. Make sure you pick that up or stream it wherever you stream your music. It's available on all streaming platforms. Man, I appreciate the continued support. Okay, dope. All right, yeah. So apparently that concert is early. So yeah, I won't be doing my thing until I think after 8 p.m. So yeah, no competition there. Good, because that was a losing fight for me. You know what I mean? Stan, why don't you grow your picks? I think you meant locks. Yeah, I'm good. I won't be growing my hair out, growing my locks out again. Yeah, it was a different time in my life. I had specific reasons why I grew them and specific reasons why I decided to cut them and let them go. And yeah, I don't see myself returning to that, anytime soon. I won't say never. But at this point in time in my life, I don't see it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But look, what I'm going to do right now, before we get ready to dip, definitely if y'all got more questions, send it over. But in the meantime, in between time, I am about to run back the track that dropped today, which is Reed Richards. So for any of you who weren't here when I first played it, I'm going to run it back again. If you were here, enjoy yourself. But if you haven't shared this broadcast, please do so. If you haven't asked any question that you had, anything that's pressing, now's the time to do it before I get ready to dip. But once again, for your listening pleasure, here is Reed Richards. All right, enjoy.
1, 2, 3, 4. You have this song selection. You deal with scientists. Jadakiss is a scientist. Buckshot, they're scientists, man. They're craftsmen. Substantial, they're scientists, man.
Clap for me, nigga, this is fantastic. Can you clap for me? DJ, bring it back for me. Let me stretch and get loose for a black on it. instead of truth, bro. I mean business. Enough flow to fill a ravine, you should bring pictures. When the beat got that swing, you gon' need pictures. On the mound, throwing it down, stand delivers. All pro, I ain't a goddamn beginner. Picks out the show, then let a man eat dinner. Too focused on A to see what plan B get us. Now be fade with some gray on the sides. Omni-man stand when that pen and paper can lie. They lied and said you was the truth, but now your status denied. This life forever die, waiting for the pain to subside. Ooh, classic over trendy, bro, I'm still here. Holla at me in a decade if they still care. When you fall and bounce back, if they still cheer, then you're worthy to wield the mic like it's Millionaire. I'm still in here, still prepared to take what I earn. Y'all some build-a-bears and built the bed, the weight of the world. I've been the realest here, that's for my soulmate and my girls. Who you feel compared to me really ain't my concern. Is he dope? Ain't a debate, cause most will say he underrated. A couple takes to state that he a great or just the greatest. Some artists focus less on albums, just don't make a playlist. I choose the former, but I hope the latter choose my latest.
Clap for me, they say Mr. Fantastic, can you rap for me? DJ, bring it back for me. Let me stretch and get loose while I black on it. For the poppers, lockers, God body rosters, hip hoppers, not for the imposters. Nah, bro, recognize I spit up when you spot one. Learn from a showstopper.
Mr. Stantastic, party of four, dope in audio form. What's a god to a goal? Bunch of beasts like Benny on the stage with the boys. You hope to have a good show, bro. I came to destroy the pit, giving out work like I came to employ. Joyce Surprise on the mic when I'm making a point. Sorcerer in the stew when I conjure up joints. Come and fetch this blessing that I came to anoint. For where we rock, new balance, but struggle with old vices. And high blood pressure be coming with low prices. For the virus, we've been dealing with known crisis. Transform from old dog to Osiris. Now we came to flame these joints like arthritis. While God guide us, peacemakers and born fighters. Got homies with more C's than papayas. Trying to find peace while writing them papyrus. Denied equal rights and living wages. And couldn't see the gods that we are to hitting stages. Best kept secret like Bibles with hitting pages. Best source of raw hip hop and entertainment. My life's a hip hop quotable thing published yet. Slept on by the masses till I left a few with rubbernecks. Took a swing at rapping and I sent it to the upper deck. Only other language that I'm fluent in is cut the check.
Clap for me, they say Mr. Fantastic, can you rap for me? DJ, bring it back for me. Let me stretch and get loose while I black on it. For the poppers, lockers, God body rosters, hip hoppers, not for the imposters. Nah, bro, recognize I spit up when you spot one. Learn from a showstopper.
We get into the science of the fact. That's the beauty of it. And that the average person doesn't know that, and they get treated like pop music. Top 40, shaking to the lights, as I say. I don't think we could be in the same room talking about the same thing.
Yo, yeah, man. Once again, that was Reed Richards, produced by me from my upcoming album called Adultish. Yeah, man, the whole entire album will be produced by me. Yeah, man, it's exciting to say the least, man. Looking forward to really just showing y'all my growth as an artist. Shout out to those of you who commented on the track. Yeah, ultimate plug. Yeah, I did play this beat on the show a while back before it was done. And before I had finished adding the switch up and all of that. So y'all did get an early preview of it some months back. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's see. Got another question. Last question. In regards to you releasing the album with singles, that has that changed your process of making the album? Do you work on one song at a time, or does it put more / less pressure to finish it? That's actually a great question. I wouldn't say it put more or less pressure. I feel a ton of pressure to get it done. You know what I mean? It does allow me to start the process of releasing the album before it's done. And which kind of puts a bit of pressure on me to finish the last few things. So I'm feeling that pressure heavy right now. Because I only really have about a month and a half in order to meet the physical merchandise deadlines that I set for myself. If I miss those deadlines, then I mean, you know, because I'm releasing it myself, then I can just move when the release comes out. I am in a situation right now where I am considering delaying the next single for about like maybe 3 weeks tops. I don't know if it's gonna be 4 weeks, but definitely 3 weeks. because with everything that I have to do for this travel and stuff, and we're a little bit behind schedule on a couple things. I haven't launched my Kickstarter campaign yet because one, I wanted to also give the homie IQ time to launch his, and I'm so happy he made his goal so quickly because now I don't feel so bad about launching my campaign and having it run while his is running, because I'm literally on his album. So yeah, man. It's just what it does do is, like, rather than having me come on these things and talk about an album that y'all won't get to hear forever, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I feel like certain aspects of it, like a good amount of the songs are written and recorded, right? And are just either in mixing stage or I'm like making like little minute changes to them. And so, yeah, man, and those are quick things to take care of, and Tone's an amazing engineer, so the stuff's getting mixed fairly quickly once he has time to sit down and work on stuff. And I love what he does, so I'm like not nitpicking over what he does, because I picked him because I love what he does, right? So yeah, most of the time he nails it like within the first 2 attempts, you know what I mean? Which is dope, which it expedites the process too. So yeah, man. But thank you for that question. All right, let's see. You ever gonna have a tour date in South Carolina? Funny enough, I have done a show in South Carolina, but it was a long time ago. It was with Cunning Linguists. I toured with them and performed there. It was like maybe 2009 or 2010, something like that. But at this time, I have no plans of going to South Carolina to do a show right now. It's largely because, like, any city that you don't see me frequent, it's usually because of the fact that, you know, I don't have a huge base there. You're probably one of maybe 5 fans over the years that I can think of off the top of my head that has either asked me about a show there or I've shipped merch there. It's not a place that comes up a ton when people are talking about where I'm a tour. So it doesn't mean that I wouldn't like to. I would love to. Man, South Carolina is a beautiful state. When they're not pulling me over in the middle of the night and giving me a hard time or searching my car. Outside of that, it's a beautiful place. So yeah, man, I'm definitely open to it, but it would have to be a situation where, like, I couldn't do like a little club where I'm doing a door split or like some little hole in the wall joint. It would have to be a place where, like, there's a guarantee, because I know for a fact that I don't have a huge fan base in South Carolina. So a lot of times I don't target cities like that to do shows, because if I got to do the show myself or do a split type of situation, I'm gonna lose money. So that's really, you know, it's more of a business thing than anything else. You know what I mean? But thank you for that question. You mind? Oh, yeah. I got you. I was grabbing that while the song was playing. So you're going to see me lift up the mic. Well, actually, no, I don't need to. So I think some of the books that I mentioned before, I have a little library over here I could grab them from. So one is Mega Ran's Dream Master book. It's really dope. It's a dope memoir worth checking out. This right here is a great one for people who are trying to learn more hip-hop history. Can't Stop, Won't Stop by Jeff Chang is really dope. I believe the foreword's written by Kool Herc. Shout out to my brother Kool Herc. Jay-Z's Decoded is really dope. Whether you're a fan of Jay or not, it's a great book. Definitely worth checking out. If you want a really amazing collector's item, which also has a book and comes with music too, this big bastard right here, Anthology of Hip Hop, yeah, man, and rap. Yeah, man, it's from the Smithsonian, and so you can order it on their website. But that's worth checking out too. I know there's like a graphic book as well that I recommended, which I don't see right now. I don't know where I put it. But yeah, but those are some great ones to check out for sure. All right. But yeah, man, thank you for that. All right. On that note, I'm out of here, family. Man, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Be sure to check out the new single if you haven't already. Those of you watching on YouTube, it's you should see the link in the chat already, or in the description of the video. Yeah, man, we're definitely going to do some more Substantial and Marcus D stuff, some more Bob Alloy at some point. We were talking about working on the next project and making it the first project where we work together in person for the first time, which makes a lot of sense, man, considering we've been cooped up for the longest due to the pandemic. So, you know, I like the idea of being able to travel out to Japan and, you know, just sleep on my boy's couch, you know what I'm saying, for a couple weeks or whatever, and work on a record with him. So it's definitely going to happen at some point. Conversations have already started. So yeah, I'll keep y'all posted. But before we get there, we got to get to adultish. You already know what it is. So on that note, y'all, I'm out of here, man. Love y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'll see you soon, but talk to you sooner. Peace. All right, y'all be good.